downturns. I've been saying this now since earlier this year. The stock market will erase 50% of its valuations before the end of the year.
How important is the election this year in November as to where we go from here, whether it's the war in Ukraine, the open border, inflation, energy policy, which has been awful for the last 3.5 years in my estimation, and the list could go on and on and on. Your thoughts?
This will be the most important election of your lifetime. We are getting ready to enter what I believe is the greatest economic opportunity and wealth redistribution in my lifetime. We will continue to print money. The $35 trillion will become $50 trillion, okay? Money is not money anymore. It is just a mechanism that is used to keep an economy going. When I was growing up, $85 was the rent. The average rent in America is $1,800, and it's gonna go to $4,000.
Hey, let's just talk about what's happening right now in America with everything economically. Inflation's up, as we talked about, groceries, gas, rent. In fact, I just read a column that you wrote. You say that rent could double in America in the next 12 months. That's pretty significant stuff for the average family.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, inflation is out of control since Joe Biden's gotten into office. Not to be political here, but just on personal finance. If you were just going to look at the personal finance, took the names out of the scene, you'd be like, okay, rent's doubled since COVID, and mortgages have the biggest disparity between a mortgage rate today, a payment, and a rent payment than in history of housing. Meaning, if the average rent is $1,800, which is about what it is across America, the average mortgage is double that, $3,600. That's before property taxes, Steve. It's before maintenance, insurance. Insurance is out of control, and that's before a down payment on a house. So that suggests to me if the average mortgage is $3,600 and the average rent is $1,800, no matter how much I scream about it and no matter how much I hate it as a renter, it's still $1,800 cheaper than a mortgage with no down payment and without the property taxes, which means rents will go up before mortgages come down.
Right, and there's no upkeep. You know, you call your apartment house manager, say, I got a problem, it's fixed. Not the same way when you have a mortgage, obviously. But this is one of the reasons, and I will get a little political here. I'm seeing young men, 30 and under, going towards the Republicans in large numbers because they want a chance to compete. Look, you're making $25 an hour, you're making 50 grand a year, you're making 100 grand a year. You're still not making that mortgage payment. You don't have a chance to get started in America the way they did, well, when you and I were younger, right?
Yeah, that's right, 100%. I mean, if you get a master's degree, somebody was talking to me the other day about college and the importance of college. And they said, would you go to college? I said, I would not only would I not go to college, I would never recommend that my kids go to college, and I wouldn't even recommend to my enemies to go to college. A master's degree today takes 6 years and about $86,000 a year, over the term in debt, and it would pay a salary of no more than $86,000. If you live in Miami, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, even Dallas, Austin, Texas, $86,000, you're going to have $25 left over at the end of the month after this inflation problem that you're talking about that is out of control on food, on housing, food, insurance.
And Grant, that's going to bring me to something else here, which is, and you've nailed something that we've been talking about here on the program for a while, and that is kids that are born, whether it's Miami, Northern Michigan in the summertime, any resort type community in America. Kids that are born there, they go to high school there, unless their parents have a property there, they can't afford to stay. They can't afford to stay where they're born because the cost of living is so far out of whack to what they can make. Whether they go to college, don't go to college, doesn't matter. I mean, they're up against it, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you look at the cities where particularly Democratic cities, the 10 most expensive cities in America are all Democratic cities, okay? Like they're Democratic by nature. They talk about rent control. They talk about eviction moratoriums. They talk about affordable housing. They talk about it a lot. Like they're going to make housing affordable or something, okay? In the cities where this is most expressed is in the same 10 cities where housing is the most expensive and where that young man that went back for the summer, he has to either live with his parents today. He can't have a wife and kids. The kids are not having kids today because they're like, dude, I'd like to have a kid, but I can't afford a kid. I can't even afford groceries for me and the wife. Can't afford the rent. I can't afford to move. I can't afford gas. So this is a real problem. And in November, people should be voting on your personal finances, not on your personal politics.
Well, looking at the markets today, the Nasdaq dumped 1,000 points, more than that, all-time record for a downturn. The Nikkei took a 12.5% dump today in Japan, worst day since 1987. I mean, we're looking at problems across the entire economic sphere.
Yeah.
I call it Bidenomics. People can call it whatever they want. That's what I call it, because this is
you got to call it Harris economics, okay? Because
that's fine.
She's
right. They
she's
pushed
the one
aside,
been running,
but it's bad policies. Right?
Yeah, that's right. Because she's the one that's been running this thing. Now we know that to be true. Running the White House, by the way. A guy asked me the other day, he's like, hey, man, I'm running my business. I said, bro, I looked at your books. You're running your business into the ground. And we're running this country into the ground economically. Taiwan's off today to record levels. I've been saying this now since earlier this year. The stock market will erase 50% of its valuations before the end of the year. It's happening right now. Like you said, the Nikkei Japanese market's off to the lowest since 1987. Most of your viewers are not even that old. They don't remember that.
Right.
We've lost almost $6 trillion of value in 1 week. And people are knowing this is happening. Warren Buffett fixed his positions in the last 3 weeks, literally refixed his books. So
he went everything to cash. Yeah, Warren Buffett went all the way into cash over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, right? Yeah, he went into cash in a lot of it. He got out of it.
He knows. The smart money knows something's happening. I would expect that we're probably going to have a big attack out of Iran this week, and maybe they know that's happening. It looks like world war's on the brink. Economy's in trouble. Now, what do people do about it? Like, you go to those places where people have to do business, meaning I need my stables. The stables are going to win. Rental property in America, I believe, will be the greatest return on capital and protection of capital, harbor of protection of capital and cash flow over the next decade of any single sector, because people will be forced to rent. Bidenomics, Harris economics, whatever you want to call it, are literally making more renters today than homeowners, and nobody's going to be able to correct that situation.
And that's why not only yourself investing in that, but State Street and a lot of these other companies are investing in these places that people are going to rent. Because I also think that, and you tell me what you think about this, I believe that a lot of the folks believe that the government is going to pay the rent for a whole host of these folks in these apartment buildings. What do you say to that idea?
Well, certainly, if AI actually takes off, you're going to have universal income. I mean, I hate to even talk about these things. I feel like a communist. When it comes out of my mouth, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe you mentioned everybody will get a paycheck. But look, if things get so out of control, this is my position. We will continue to print money. The $35 trillion will become $50 trillion. Okay? Money is not money anymore. It is just a mechanism that is used to keep an economy going. The old adage from the World Economic Group is you'll own nothing and be happy about it will become true. So if people want to protect themselves, their assets, and their retirement, do not invest in the stock market. Stay away from paper. Take your paper money, your fiat money, convert it to real property that cash flows.
Now, we're with Grant Cardone. He wrote the 10X rule here on the Steve Gruber Show. We're going to continue with Grant because I've got some things I want to ask you about. Sit tight right there. All right, it's the 10X rule. Grant Cardone is the man. And all right, so we've got a pretty good idea of what the problems are. So what will it take if you're right? And let's say you're even half right. 25% of the value goes out of the stock market this year. Rents continue to rise. Inflation continue, because what the plan from Biden and Harris would be dump more government money in, run the printing presses, which people that aren't old enough can still find Morton Friedman videos on YouTube. They can educate themselves. Government causes inflation. Nobody else, nothing else. It comes from government. They can fix it. They won't. What would have to be done, in your estimation, from your experience, to correct these issues?
Well, people need an education. Okay, I actually don't believe printing money causes inflation. It is the distribution of that money to stupidity. Okay, when people do stupid things with money, you create inflation. Supply and demand is what actually controls inflation. The federal government has nothing to do with inflation, meaning the Fed cannot control inflation. The natural marketplace is what determines if I'm willing to pay $800 for a pair of tennis shoes, or $1,800 or $2,800 or $10,000, is what determines the inflation of a tennis shoe. And if people are stupid enough to take their $1,400 check and spend $1,400 of it on a pair of tennis shoes, you're going to get inflated on. Now, that does not hurt smart people. Smart people benefit from inflation. Poor people, poorly educated, indoctrinated, small thinkers, people that are that are spectators in the game, are the ones that are paying the price of inflation, unfortunately. But that's the way the game has always been. So what I would tell people is you got to get re-educated, become re-educated about what money is and how to use it.
Absolutely true. I think I misspoke. It's Milton Friedman. I think I might have misspoke. So people looking for those videos that are not old enough to remember, it's Milton, Uncle Milty. And there's a whole bunch of great people out there. Henry Hazlitt, Grant Cardone, a bunch of folks. Now, let's not be Debbie Downer for the whole day, all right? Let's talk about some positive things. 10X. One of the things that I think has been lost, Grant, and you tell me from your experience, I think we've lost a lot of the work ethic in America. People don't want to work as hard as they did once. It just seems to me that they want all the rewards, but they don't want to, bust sweat coming down their brow every day. They don't want their nose to the grindstone, shoulder to the wheel. Do we need more work ethic in America?
Well, 100%. I mean, look, this is why people come to this country, can't speak the language, don't know where they're going, don't even know where they're going to live, and they do better than the people that live here. The people that live here are no longer grateful for living here and the opportunity here. I hear people dogging on the U.S. dollar every day like they're going to get rid of it. I'm like, there is no getting rid of the U.S. dollar. You're not going to get rid of this piece of paper, because as much as you might think it's not worth anything, it's still worth more than all the other dollars. And so people don't understand that live in America, the benefits and the opportunities of living here. On our worst day, we still offer tremendous opportunity here. Now, we got a lot of problems here, but we still have more opportunities to actually create wealth, real wealth. The other thing I'll say, Steve, about the work ethic is I think a lot of it is because the dream is dying. Why work hard if there's no real dream and no real change? If the quality of my life is not going to significantly change, why would I work harder when all the government's doing is taking money, raising taxes, taking my money, and then misusing the money by sending it to, let's say, Ukraine, where most of us don't even know or can't find it on a map?
Yeah, a war that they're never going to win, no matter how much money you pump in. I mean, it's ridiculous. I agree with you on that. Let me ask you about the 10X philosophy. I mean, my wife, Ivy, became a big fan, so by extension, I became a big fan because she was playing the tapes in the car and reading the book and quoting you, and I'm like,
who's this guy?
You like this guy? It's all good.
You fantasizing about this guy?
I guarantee you. What's that?
As long as she doesn't call out my name when you guys are being intimate.
So far, not yet. I'll keep an eye out for that. But all right, so the 10X rule, how'd you get to this philosophy? Because really it is about work ethic and making it happen.
Yeah, this is because in 2010, when we were coming out of the Great Recession, I had been working hard for 20 years and realized literally in the breath of 3 months, because of the 2008 collapse, my two businesses were slaughtered and I couldn't sell any of my real estate. I was at a very... what's the word? I was almost hitting bottom, if you will. I was scared I was going to go bankrupt, and I went in my office and I sat down. I said, I'm not leaving my office till I figure out what I did wrong. Because it wasn't that somebody else had done something to me. I said, what did I do wrong that I worked 20 years, saved my money, planned for retirement, did all the right things, and now I'm at risk? And I'm hearing in the background, too big to fail, too big to fail, too big to fail, too big to fail. And I was like, dude, I didn't get too big to fail. I stayed small. And the 10X rule was born out of that. It's basically suggests that had I been 10 times bigger at the time and had 10 times more debt, by the way, not been debt free, but had 10 times more debt, I would have actually been in a better situation to get assistance and to dig my way out. And that opportunity, the good news is, you want to turn this into an optimistic conversation. We are getting ready to enter what I believe is the greatest economic opportunity and wealth redistribution in my lifetime for people that are ready for it.
What do you mean? Why don't you give me just a little bit on it? What do you mean by that? The wealth redistribution, because those on the left, you mentioned Harris and Biden, they want to redistribute your wealth to a whole bunch of other people. But what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is institutions. Unlike in 2008, where it was, some small person, some individual, Grant went out and bought 10 houses and he worked at Domino Pizza and he put 10 houses. That's not what happened this time. This time, some of the biggest, largest, most respected names in the world, they didn't put 10 houses on a mortgage. They put 10,000 houses on an adjustable rate mortgage. We're going to see 300 bank failures in this country, possibly.
All right,
before.
hold that thought. Hold that thought right there, because I want Grant to finish this thought. We're going to hang you through the break here. If you want the good news, where to invest, what some great opportunities might be, stick right here on the Steve Gruber Show. Back with Grant Cardone in just one moment. Grant, welcome back. Grant Cardone, the 10X rule. All right, here it is. Greatest redistribution of wealth in American history, opportunities for people. Take it from there.
We're going to see 300 bank failures. Okay, that's a tremendous opportunity. There is no opportunity without crisis. They just don't. You have to just work. The true opportunities come when there's a crisis, okay? Now, different than 2008, when the big banks and institutions took advantage of the opportunity. By the way, Blackstone, State Street, Ray Dalio's company, all those guys, Vanguard, they're all over in Ukraine right now buying up all of Ukraine. Now, for those of you that can't go to Ukraine, I can't go over there, the biggest opportunity on the planet for Americans is going to be in America. Institutions over the last 3 to 5 years have bought real estate in America at scale that has never happened before. Trillions of dollars worth of debt is due right now. About 1.4 trillion is due before the end of this year. If rates stay up, okay, those loans are due and those properties will have to be sold. That will probably be what I believe to be the biggest opportunity for Americans, regular, everyday people, to buy institutional, the best of the best real estate in this country.
Okay, so what if rates come down? And I say that only because the Fed is now signaling they might bring rates down. Now, I don't see how that happens.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen.
Has gone up to the highest level in 3 years. Go on.
It's going to happen. You're going to see a lower rate than before the raises. We've always gone back to the lower rate, by the way, in your lifetime, in your whole lifetime. The entirety of your 55 years you've been around. How old are you?
58.
58. So, okay. They've said they won't raise. Rates have to go up. They've said that your whole 58 years, okay? But they've always gone lower, and they always go lower than they did, and they always print more, okay? We will print more money. We will be at a 0% interest rate in the future. It will go for extended periods of time. The U.S. dollar will continue to be devaluated, or in this case, the price of goods and services will just go up. That's just a fact of life. So who benefits from that? Property owners benefit. The only beneficiary of inflation are real property owners that have real cash flow. And that's what I would tell everybody. Just focus on not owning a house, not owning a car, own nothing that depreciates, only own assets that provide cash flow to you and your family.
Period.
Stay out of the retirement accounts. Stay out of the retirement accounts. Get out of your IRA, your 401k, and your Roth are all IRS traps. They were created with the IRS and the help of Wall Street to trap people's money for 30 years, only for you to pay higher taxes when you need the money. They're traps.
So when you look at 10X, if you were going to summarize 10X for somebody and say, this is my philosophy and this is what I came to when you were having that struggle of your own, you said, what did I do wrong? I wasn't too big to fail. These things happen.
Yeah.
What advice would you give people as far as what is 10X? What does it mean to you?
The number one rule that you will fail or suffer in life is because you underestimated what you actually needed. This is the plight of the middle class. The middle class is a group of people that settle for comfort under the pretense that they have just enough. And they have just enough until it's not just enough. And it is a pretense class, by the way. It is a completely made up mythology. The middle class are a bunch of people that think they're rich, that are actually poor. They're one emergency from being broke. They spend a lifetime of being concerned and concerned about the government, and oh, the government's going to screw up. Yeah, they are. Everybody knows they're going to screw up. Don't even be surprised about it. And so, the breakdown, the summarization of the 10X rule is whatever you think you need, multiply times 10, and you will still probably be short.
Still probably be short. People have to, get out there, invest, have fun with what they're doing, but by God, do the work and pay attention to what's happening. And don't, what you're saying is, don't go buy the new car. Try to figure out a way to get a duplex on a land contract, or 2 or 3. You're saying, get your hands on dirt, because dirt, they're not making any more of it, generally speaking.
Yeah.
We know there's a housing crunch in America, right? Has been for a number of years. It's a big winner.
Yeah, but the way you and I grew up, we were like, oh, go buy a single family home as soon as you get out of school.
Sure.
You shouldn't buy a single family home. If a home is a good investment, 10 homes are a better investment. And I would rather the income from 10 kind of, 10 homes that pay me money, or one home that pays me money, than one home that I have to pay to live in. I would rent where I live, and I would own something that would pay me rental, because the rental game is not going to go away. AI will not wipe it out. Technology will not wipe it out. People have paid for housing for thousands of years, and they always will continue to pay for it. When I was growing up, $85 was the rent. The average rent in America is $1,800, and it's going to go to $4,000.
And how fast do you think that's going to happen?
I think it happens within 10 to 12 years. The reason rents exploded since COVID is because we printed money. Okay, the amount of money that was printed, everybody talks about 7 to 8 trillion, but nobody understands that 7 to 8 trillion was then pushed into the banking system and becomes 80 trillion, not 8 trillion, because that money is loaned out. So we haven't even had inflation close to the amount of money that was printed.
Unbelievable. Grant Cardone here, an inspiration to so many people. I do want to go political with you. One last question. How important is the election this year in November as to where we go from here, whether it's the war in Ukraine, the open border, inflation, energy policy, which has been awful for the last 3.5 years in my estimation, and the list could go on and on and on. Your thoughts?
This will be the most important election of your lifetime. If you want your kids to have more weird ideas about their choices in life, vote for the Democratic Party. If you want more inflation, vote for the Democratic Party. I'm just telling you, like, I grew up a Democrat. Okay, I was raised by a Democratic family. I voted Democrat till I was 32 years old. I believed that they were there to help. I grew up lower middle class, raised by a single mom. My dad died when I was 52. Like, we voted Democrat, period, end of story. And then one day I woke up and said, man, this is not getting better for us. And
all right. It's not getting any better. And,
and let me say, Steve, the Republican Party, the old Republican Party, didn't make things better either. There is a new Republican Party in place right now. And I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about there's an awareness and aliveness and an awakening of people like me that are saying, hey, screw the politics, dude. I want to get control back. I don't want your handouts. I don't even want my kids going to school. I'm going to homeschool my kids. I'm going to bank my own money. I'm going to take care of my own family, okay? And people are awakening up, and maybe this is what America needed. Hopefully, this will be a turning point one way or the other. If it turns the other way, it won't be good. If it turns the right way, it could be.
Yeah, and it is the economy, stupid. It is the economy. At the end of the day, people trying to survive. Grant Cardone, American businessman, real estate investor, equity fund manager, real estate investor, business author, founder of 10X Growth Conference, 10X Health System, Cardone Ventures, author of many books, including The 10X Rule, which I said I have right here. The only difference between success and failure is right here. Thank you to Ivy, my wife, for making an introduction to you indirectly and then directly here. Where would people find out more about what you're doing and what you're up to? And I know you have investment opportunities as well. Where would they go?
Yeah, Cardone Capital. We created a platform at cardonecapital.com for everyday regular investors to literally partner alongside me. We buy institutional quality real estate, the best of the best real estate you can buy with money, and we buy it from institutions, but we do not partner with the institution on the money side. So we've democratized the best asset class in the world. We have about $5 billion worth of real estate under management, and we only partner with regular, everyday people, as low as $5,000 investments, and it's a game changer.
You make it possible. You make it possible to invest in the best of the best because you.
I was told
people together.
I was told not to do this. I'm trying to lower our minimum investment to $100 to give millions of people the opportunity to invest in the right kind of real estate, which is not a single-family home. Okay, the single-family home is not an investment. That is a place where money goes and dies at best. So, so that's what we do at Cardone Capital. And then the other thing we do is we do these large conferences once or twice a year for business owners and those people that are committed to wealth. We're about to do one in Miami called the 10X Wealth Conference, where I'll bring a bunch of my friends from the banking industry and from Wall Street to educate Main Street, regular people like me, about money, finance, and how things are changing in money and finance.
Wait. I have a secret message here.
Uh-oh.
Ivy says maybe we'll see you there. She hands me maybe we'll see you there. She says, you know,
you guys
like
can be my guest.
She became a big fan.
I want you to be my guest there. Tell Ivy for sure she can be my guest. Steve, you can tag along with her, okay?
Fair enough.
You know what? Maybe I'll have you moderate a couple of the guests that we're having. I'm having Rob Cohn there.
That.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm all in on that. Yeah, we'd be all in on that. Love to see you. Love to talk about it. Where's the event?
It's in Miami. Turnberry, October 9th and 10th. I think the website's 10xwealthcon.com.
So we got it straight. Ivy will be your guest. I'll be there working. I got it.
There you go.
You're perfect.
And then, but you got to ask. You got to start listening at night.
All right. Yeah. Well, we listen every time we're in the car. Grant, every place I go, I hear your voice. It's kind of spooky. Anyhow, Grant Cardone, pleasure meeting you in person.
Thank you, man.
Look forward to seeing you in Miami.
Okay. Appreciate you.